Hi, everybody. Welcome to Red Tara Practice and Contemplation Group. Hope everybody's well tonight. Here in Curitiba is a little chilly, but it's that time of the year as we head into the winter time. So we're having the luxury of very slowly and carefully reading and contemplating Rinpoche's book together with Lama Shenpen, Change of Heart. And we're starting chapter 9, Walking the Bodhisattva Path. So Rinpoche starts out this chapter by saying we really begin our journey on the Bodhisattva path when we begin to check our motivation for everything we do. Sounds like a lot in the beginning. And like most things on the spiritual path, we have to take small bites, baby steps. But actually, because it's our true nature, the other tendencies do seem to fall away as we train in an altruistic motivation. At the same time that we undertake our own practice, we also make every effort to end the suffering of others. We aspire that each action of our body, speech, and mind contribute to the temporary and ultimate happiness of all beings. When we act with such a motivation, we create incalculable benefit, for the extent of our virtue is determined not by the scope of our motivation. The extent of our virtue is determined by the scope of our motivation, not by that of the action itself. So the motivation is the most important thing. So even if the action is small, if we have the motivation, may this in some way bring benefit to all beings, it becomes an action that creates infinite merit when it's dedicated to the benefit of all beings. That's the power and beauty of generating the motivation of bodhicitta, generating the mind of bodhicitta. If you take the bodhisattva vows, you take the vow to, in all of your body, speech, and mind, to always try to work for the benefit of others. Once you take that vow, it's working 24 hours a day. So even when you're not remembering that vow, you're driving your car, you're riding the bus, you're creating merit. They say even when you're sleeping, you're creating merit. And of course, because we slip up a little bit, we go back to our selfish ways, it's also very important that every day we renew our bodhisattva vows. So in any of the practices we do, a daily practice, be it Tara, be it Chenrezi, Vajrakalaya, whatever your tradition is, all the practices will start with renewing your vows of refuge and bodhicitta. When we do something to ease suffering without the specific intention of benefiting all beings without distinction, the virtue that results will infallibly produce happiness, but it will be impermanent. Virtue is inexhaustible only when we are motivated by bodhicitta. That way, even giving a few breadcrumbs to a hungry bird with the aspiration to produce temporary and ultimate benefit for all beings will create unending virtue. Acting virtuously within the conceptual framework of relative truth, we are bound by the experience of self, immersed in the duality of self and other. Therefore, the virtue created is vulnerable to destruction by the effects of self-interest, such as feelings of self-worth for being useful, attachment to our way of helping, or aversion to somebody else's way. But when no self-clinging is involved, the virtue cannot be destroyed. But even within our dualistic perspective, we can still protect and increase our virtue by always establishing pure motivation before we act, and immediately afterwards dedicating the merit to the temporary and ultimate welfare of all beings. This way, the merit is sealed and cannot be destroyed. Otherwise, just as a single spark can set fire to an entire haystack, one moment can destroy incredible amounts of virtue. Another way to think of it is, if a drop of water lands on a dry rock, immediately it evaporates. But if a drop of water lands into the ocean, it becomes one with the ocean and never evaporates. Same way, when we dedicate the virtue of our actions to all beings, immediately that virtue merges with an incalculable ocean of merit that's always available for us and other beings along our spiritual path. So, motivation, 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 and don't forget to dedicate.